Donald Trump was a name that was associated with great deeds, striking decisions, and extraordinary events throughout his life. However, what he would experience that day would turn into a story he would never forget, even if it was not one of the greatest moments in his career. The special train leaving New York was moving towards the vast countryside, leaving the noise of the city behind. Trump was lost in thought, looking out the window. He was accompanied by his advisors, a few journalists, and his close team. The journey was completely part of a routine program, but something that no one had counted on would change everything. The train slows down suddenly. The train was moving at speed when it suddenly started to slow down. At first, no one understood what was happening. While the security team was trying to get a status report from their headsets, Trump was also curious. "What is going on?" he asked. After speaking with the engineer, an officer turned to Trump. "Sir, there is a man on the side of the tracks. He is waving. I think he is asking for help." Trump frowned. Is it enough for a man to wave for a train going that fast? The security guard was also surprised. Normally, trains would not stop in such situations, but the engineer must have instinctively sensed that something was wrong. Trump, whose curiosity was growing, ignored the security team and headed towards the front of the train. When he looked out the window, he did indeed see an old man standing at the edge of the tracks. He had a shabby coat, a torn hat, and a tired face, but his hands looked as if they had been hardened from years of work. Trump thought for a moment. Who was this man? And why did he want the train to stop here, in an area where no one was? The story of the mysterious man. Trump got off the train without listening to the security warnings. He approached the man as the cold wind hit his face. "Sir, are you okay? Do you need help?" The man raised his head and his eyes locked on Trump. There was silence for a moment. Then the man took a deep breath. "Mr. Trump, I never thought I'd see you here." Trump frowned. "Do you know me?" The man nodded. I used to be an engineer working on big projects. All I have now is this bag." He opened his bag and took out some yellow documents. Trump looked through the papers. They were full of drawings, calculations, and notes. "What are these?" he asked. The man began to speak with a trembling voice. "Years ago, I was working on an energy project, a system where we could produce energy without oil, gas, or coal, using only the power of nature. But no one believed me. I lost all my funds. Investors abandoned me. Now I am just a homeless person. But this project is still on my mind. If someone gives me a chance, I believe I can change the world." Trump was silent for a while. The hopelessness and determination in the man's eyes were familiar to him, because he too had been belittled and rejected by people many times throughout his life, but he had never given up. Trump's surprising decision. Trump took a deep breath and turned to his advisors. "This guy is coming with me," he said firmly. His security team was surprised. "Sir, we can't do this. We don't know who he is." Trump narrowed his eyes. Sometimes you don't need to know everything about a person to understand who they are. Just looking at their eyes is enough. Tears welled up in the man's eyes. "Really? Will you help me?" Trump nodded. "If this project is really as impressive as you say, then why not?" A few minutes later, the man boarded the train. The entire crew watched in amazement. Trump and the stranger talked for hours. The man explained the project in great detail. Trump listened attentively, asking questions in between. That journey might have seemed like a mere coincidence, but perhaps it was a strange twist of fate. Because years later, that man's idea would truly create a great transformation, and the world would never forget the decision Trump made that day. Sometimes life changes at unexpected moments. Sometimes a stroke of luck changes a person's destiny forever. And sometimes even a train journey can turn into one of the greatest moments in history.